Hey guys, Marcello here, back with more info about Medellin. This video, I'm going to be talking about the best neighborhoods in Medellin, if you're going to visit, right? I already did a video about the best places to live, so now I'm just going to talk about specifically the best areas to go ahead and stay in if you're coming maybe for a week or a few weeks or maybe a month or two. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Most popular thing that you're going to find is going to be the area around Parquejeras. And what I would recommend, unfortunately, it's gotten really deteriorated over time. There's a lot of drugs, it's under construction, there's prostitutes everywhere. So in this map, when you see here, right, I'm going to show you the video that I'm recording as well. There's a line in the middle, which is the river where I was going to say autopista, which is the interstate. I was doing a bunch of Spanish videos. I've been here so long, I think it's Spanish now. So it's north to south, basically, on the right side and then the left side. And the main areas are essentially El Poblado. And if you notice this area right in here, I'll put in the video Poblado, so you can see it on the right side map too. There you go. See, it's outlined. That's this down here where it's El Poblado. And then up here where it says Laureles Estadio, that's the other area where I think most of you are going to probably want to stay in. Now, if you're looking to save a little bit of money, I would say that Laureles Estadio is a little bit better. It's a little bit more authentic experience. There's older buildings and beautiful tree-lined streets. And it's coming up now, I would say, where there's more restaurants, there's really cool cafes, there's all kinds of things there. And the area around Laureles that you want to stay in is called the Segundo Parque de Laureles, the second Laureles Park. It's a roundabout, and then everything in that zone, I would say, you have everything from the cool kind of local hole-in-the-wall places that are super cheap to if you want to have a little bit of taste of home like McDonald's and Burger King and Starbucks, all that is literally right there in that main area. And you can save a little bit of money that way. I preferred Laureles before because it was more authentic and it was more local. But now I think I like Poblado better because Poblado has kind of come up a little bit where there's a lot more culture and a lot more restaurants that are a little bit better. And if you're going to want to go out and party and things like that, you know, to have to go from Laureles to another part of the city, you're going to be doing a lot less walking and a lot more driving than you get into the Medellin traffic and things like that. So overall, I would say Poblado is a place that you want to stick to. Okay. But if you want to save a little bit of money or you're going to stay a little bit longer, you could consider Laureles if you want. But overall, I would actually recommend Poblado instead. Now, in terms of the areas around Poblado, the majority of you guys are going to find a place called Parquejeras. And Parquejeras is going to be kind of the hub, let's say, of where you're kind of want to hear of a lot online, all that stuff, you know, where you're going to want to stay. A lot of people talk about Poblado. So I had a screenshot here that unfortunately I can't open anymore, but I'm gonna do a lot of this on the map because I think a lot of you guys are gonna look at the map to see where is the best place to go, where is the best place to stay, and so I'm gonna show you on the map. So if you're gonna get an Airbnb or if you're gonna find a hotel, you can find it on the map that I'm gonna show you. That way it'll be easier for you to find. So as I mentioned to you before, the main river in the middle. I wouldn't go anywhere left. I would stay on the right, which is El Poblado. And what you're going to want to do is find these two streets right here, which is Calle 10 and 11, or you could just look up Lleras Park or Parque Lleras, and that's going to be right here in the middle. What I would do is I would stay away, and I'm going to make this bigger, and I'm going to take a screenshot so I can show you guys. I would stay away from everything in a 2-block radius around Parque Lleras. So that means anything in this area right here within a block or two, I would stay away from because, as I mentioned to you guys in the beginning, it's super deteriorated. You know, there's a super fancy hotel that a friend of mine built called the Marquee, which is incredible. But then when you walk out, especially at night, there's people offering you drugs and prostitutes and all kinds of things. And I just don't think most of you guys come for that kind of stuff. Now, once you get out of that, and I'll show you a picture of that, once you get out of that ring, then there's some other cool areas that I think are pretty good to stay in. And I'm going to show you here, there's Barrio Provenza. Watch it, I'll show you here on the map so you guys can see the little picture of it. this kind of all these red dots right here in Provenza are where I think is one of the best places to stay. The reason why is because you're just far enough away from all the action, but you can just walk down and it's not that bad of a hill to be able to get there. And all the action, I mean the clubs and the restaurants and the cool bars and things like that. It's an amazing tree-lined streets, and they blocked off 2 roads now, so there's eating inside of the street and everything. It's a great place. So that's one of the places I think I would definitely recommend, this whole kind of oval right in here where you see these red lines. Another barrio I would recommend is called La Linde. La Linde is all this area right here. So you can see Parque Lleras is right here. And then just north of that, just above that, is this whole area for La Linde. Now, you won't be able to walk as much in this area because the places that you're going to walk to, this is a hill coming down, so you might have to Uber a little bit more. But overall, I think it's still a great area. This area right in here, to the right or to the north, I honestly don't know what this neighborhood is called, but it's a great area too. And as you go to the right, remember the division of the river, as you go higher into Poblado, the mountain gets steeper and steeper and steeper and steeper. So the higher you go, the more transport you're going to need to pick, like Ubers and things like that. There's really no other kind of mass transport to take up there. They do have it, especially for the locals. It's a little bit more difficult for us foreigners to figure out because it's not, simply on the map like we do in the US or in the UK or Australia. But overall, I would still say it's still a pretty good area. So all this area right here is good. And then as you go higher, it's good. It's pretty good as well. There's another barrio that I want to show you as well called Manila. And that's just to the south, which is this area right here. So notice it's down behind Parque Lleras. I would avoid getting closer to where the river and the interstate is. And there's another really good hotel there. Again, the same guy from the marquee called Landmark, which is really cool. It has a great rooftop pool. It's really, really cool. This place is up and coming. There's a lot of cute little restaurants and bars and cafes and things like that. One of the things to keep in mind about the weather is verify where you're going to stay, whether it's a hotel or an Airbnb, if they have AC. I used to live in Laureles, which I would say is one of the lowest points in the city, but it's pretty warm in the city now, right? It used to be called the City of Eternal Spring. For the most part, it's kind of the same weather year round. If it rains, it cools down a little bit. I don't know what it is in centigrade, in Celsius, but in Fahrenheit, I would say it's about 70 to 80 degrees on a really hot day with no humidity. And then if it's cloudy or it's going to rain right at night, it gets down to about 60 to 70 degrees. Okay. So the more that you're going to stay inside down in the valley, meaning near the river, the hotter is going to get. So if you're going to stay down here because you want to stay in a cool neighborhood, just make sure that the Airbnb where you're staying or the hotel where you're staying has AC. Otherwise, choose a spot up in the mountains, up higher, which is up in this area up here. See where it says El Tesoro right here? This is where you're gonna have a lot more cooler weather, but it is less walkable. So it's a huge hill, right, going up to there. And so you're going to need to find Ubers all the time to be able to transport to you wherever you go. This is why I think the best places for you to stay in Colombia are going to be, if you want to be close to the action, or if you're going to be staying less time, maybe just a week or a few days, stay in the Provenza or La Linde area. I'll show you again Provenza right in here, right? And then La Linde, which is just above Parque Lleras. It's crossing the river. A lot of those apartments actually have this area right in here. And then if you want to go a little bit more local, keep in mind it is a little bit more convenient in terms of walkable, but you're not going to stay just in one barrio. When you're here in Medellin, you're going to want to go out and visit places. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated, Laureles, to get in and out. But generally, Laureles is going to be a little bit cheaper as well compared to Poblado. And this is both in the places that you're going to stay, in addition to the prices of the hotels and Airbnbs. I would say on average, the hotels now are probably ranging for a decent, good hotel, 70, 80 bucks. It's gone up a little bit due to the fact that the government has changed some of the regulations to add taxes and things like that. And then on the high end, you're probably looking maybe 200 on the higher average end, I would say 120, 150. And then there's a few places where you can get really ball out apartments, you know, 5-bedroom maybe for $300, $400, $500 a night, which is pretty good as well. So let me know if that was helpful. If there's any other areas that you would recommend. You know, I didn't talk about kind of further away areas like Envigado because of the traffic, or Sabaneta, which is much further south, or other areas like Estadio, which is a lot cheaper but a bit out of the way, because I think most of you want the convenience of being able to visit some of the places like restaurants and tourist attractions and things like that. So I kept it to most of the central areas. But if there's any other places that you guys have, leave them there in the comments. If there's any other things you want me to cover about Medellin, just leave it with the hashtag Ask Marcello there in the comments, and I could do the video for you. And remember to come and visit La Malia. I'll leave some videos and pictures here at the end so you guys can see it. It's coming along beautifully.